Today I've got two boxes with me, two packages. I love packages. And the one here is from Taiwan, from Armattan Quads. The other one is from readymaderc.com. And let's start with the box. This here is going to be accessories for this box, but let's start with the box and get a knife out here. There you go. And in here, and all this, somewhere down here, aha, is this beautiful little piece of art, as far as I'm concerned. Look at that thing. That is a ready-to-fly, pre-programmed, test-flown, and tested little quad. It comes with, in here is a KK controller. Interestingly, with the KK controller, it has a little display on top and control keys right here. So you should be able to set it up without actually connecting to a computer. Time will show. And out here is the motors, 1800 kV. Down here is the ESCs attached with a little ziplock tie. And finally there's a set of legs, so there's room for a 3S 1100 or 2200 milliamp battery underneath. And on top here is where I'm planning to put a camera for now. So that is what we got. By the way, Chris that makes these things is advertising lifetime warranty on these. And I can understand why, because that's 4 millimeters of rock solid carbon fiber here. In here is 2 millimeters on each side of this board. Let's make sure I'm right. I am right, that's 2 millimeters. So the structure of this thing is simply rock solid. It's a pretty dense, feels very dense. And of course back here is an XT60 power plug. So that is a beautiful little piece. Let's get the rest out of this box. Here's some spare propellers. And Chris sends a video when you buy this thing to show you the test flight, and this looks like the propellers that has already been attached. You can see they have the little lock things here. So let's empty this box, and I'm just gonna empty all this out. Okay, now it's empty, and I found one more part that we're gonna take a look at. And let's use it as a box. There. The one more thing I found when I threw everything out was this thing. Here it is a GoPro shelf. I can get that open. There you go. That looks something like that. And that can be attached by removing 2 screws. And now there is a shelf for flying a GoPro up front, and it's still low enough that you can have your battery behind it. So that's a neat way to mount a GoPro on it. I'm probably not going to fly the GoPro. I'm probably instead going to fly my Mobius. And I think I'm going to stick it on top since I'm not really using it for video, but just for... So let's get some propellers on it. And here's this. This has to be back, and I usually have colored propellers in the back. So you just stick this on and lock it. And it has a hole in it right here on the spinner. So you can use an Allen wrench or a small screwdriver to tighten these down. Make sure you tighten them down, because if you don't, you're likely to have this flying all over the place. And you really don't want that. That's 2. The other thing with having black propellers in front always is, when they show up in the video, they don't show as much. So here's the thing. With propellers and everything, this now needs a receiver. This thing is receiver ready when it comes from Chris. I didn't see an option with radio ready. I'm sure if you ask for it, he can do that, an RTF. But I bought this receiver ready, and the other thing you're gonna need, and he sends an email out when you buy it, you're gonna need some of these male to male servo cables here. I just rubbed these off an old non-flying rig. And then into the picture comes my purchases from Ready-Made RC. Here's a receiver and some antennas. keep using antennas, so we're gonna pull one of these out to be ready. And we also have in here a video transmitter. So the first thing we're gonna deal with is the receiver right here. This is a ezUHF 8-channel but single antenna receiver, and it's going to need a little bit of double-sided tape, or at least there. So we're going to take that. I usually fold them up like that. I find that when I double the double-sided tape, so I doubled it up here, and now we're just going to peel this off there. Here is the kit. I'm going to stick this one on the back. And where is this going? This is going to go. We're going to have a little bit of a problem with our antenna. Where's that going to go? I'm going to have to let that go out this way. So, well, for now we're just going to stick this thing right here. And then I'll have to rethink this once I get it in. So then what has to happen here is these cables, the white cable or the lighter cable is the signal part. So they're going to be attached starting from the one end here. And again, Chris sends an email when you buy this that goes through the exact positioning. So they come down here and attach, and I pretty much know from experience this one is going to come up. So that goes in here, out there. So, and that's going to need to be coiled down a bit so that it doesn't get in the way. And finally, and like I said before, I'm not sure where this antenna is really going to go, because if it goes straight up, it's going to get chopped off by the props. This is a really small little quad. So maybe for now we're just going to put it right here, flying really close. This should be fine, and we're definitely going to get a signal. And that will be the radio I put right here. Let's put that over there. By the way, I love these things. They're great to cut off a piece and use as sunshade for cameras when you fly. The other thing here is the power supply, and you can put 11 volts on these little Immersion RC 600 milliamp. This is my favorite radio, it's the 5.8. So you can put 11 volts on, and the way I'm going to attach this, I'm going to cut off the JST plug on the end. So I'm just going to cut it, and somewhere. Alright, here. If you take a look here on the back side, here's the power cables. This comes from here. That's an ESC cable here. See this little one right here? I can use maybe point with this. That has two solder pads right there. So what I'm going to do, I can't see myself. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to cut this, and I'm going to solder this little power supply to these two solder pads to the same color plus and minus right here. That's actually the takeout for the power to the flight controller. And having done that, I can then connect this directly to this, and that will be that. So this one, we are going to envision that we're going to stick on the end, and as you know, these things comes with a little dipole antenna. It looks like this, and then it can fold up. But if you want a little more reach, you always want more reach, then you use instead one of the little antennas from the little spiral net antennas. That's a circular polarizer, and you stick it on like that. So, and I usually stick them so they go down, because when they go down, then you can actually see the signal. So let's put a little piece of tape, usually put it right here because that's flat and easy to tape. So again, more double-sided tape. And cut it, like that. Double fold it, Again, because double fold somehow sticks much better. Honestly, it's only like the first 5 minutes you ever have a problem with these things. After about 5 minutes, this stuff sticks so good you'll never get it off again. So let's find a place for that. I think that should be in on the side somewhere in here. I'm not quite sure where, but maybe like that. And then let the antenna pop down, kind of like this. So it comes out a little bit like that. There, you see that? So we're facing, this is the front here where my fingers are pointing. And the antenna is kind of down, so when we're flying, we can see the antenna from below. So that's going to need also a zip tie here. It has its power cord. And the power cord is going to get soldered in here. I'm not going to solder this right now because it's going to take forever. And you don't want to wait for that. Up on top, and I forgot a mount out in the car. So we're just going to give it a piece of double-sided tape for now, but that's not how I intend to mount this camera. I intend to mount it using, when you buy the Möbius camera, it comes with a little mount in the kit, and I like that one. And the way I mount those is I cut some little 5mm pillars of sorpothane. That with those little things, cut 4 of those, put 1 in each corner of that little tray for the Möbius camera. So when you slide the Möbius camera in, it's going to be standing on these little pillars here. And that will completely kill your jello or the vibrations from this, if there is any. And it's going to put the camera up. So the tray is going to come up and it's going to put it up to about here. I always fly with the wide angle Möbius. That's just because when you fly proximity close to the ground, I always feel it's easier to see when I can see the, whoops, that's sideways. I have to turn around. And make sure it clears the propellers. This is a tight fit. There you go. So that's actually, I may actually just leave it with double-sided tape. We'll see how much yellow is on here. It is sitting good. The propellers are here, they're black, so they won't show up too much in the picture or in the video. And notice the little thing I put on here. I do that always with the Möbius cameras. I have these up on Shapeways, and there's a link in my blog post and also below here in the video. These are like not much. I think they're like $5 on Shapeways, and they're clip-on. They slide right onto the Möbius, and they create shade so that you don't get flare from the sun. And it, more importantly, see how they stick out in front of the Möbius right here? If you hit into something really hard, they transfer the impact to the case and spare the lens. So these are little lens savers and also lens hoods. If you want, you could cut a piece of cardboard and stick an even bigger piece of cardboard with double-sided tape out here. I made them really compact so that they will fit in a lot of situations. So we need to solder this together. I'm not going to do that now. The camera is on top. We have a VTX on the one side and we have a receiver on the other side. Now notice this is the ezUHF receiver that goes with the ezUHF transmitter, which I personally use on the back of a Devo 6 radio. It's incredibly small and it's really nice when you fly it. I converted it to have an XT60 cable because that's what all my batteries use. I have a battery for that transmitter sitting up here, and it's connected to the radio down here with a mini plug. So that one is ready to go. We just need to bind this receiver to this transmitter, and then we're ready to fly pretty much as soon as I solder the stuff together here. So this power cable of course needs to be attached in here so we can get power. And oh, there's one other thing left to do. Also from Ready Made RC, I got a video to transmitter plug. So this one is ready made. All you have to do is plug it in. That's plugged in, and it goes up here and straight into the back. And you're gonna have to also zip tie that down a little bit so it's not all over the place. So that goes from the video transmitter right up to here. And I put a little piece of tape on it with a figure 8 for Möbius or Infinity. I also have a lot of these for GoPros. And the GoPro one does not work with this. So if you plug one of these into the GoPro, you could fry this or fry the GoPro. So make sure you use the right cable to the right camera. But they power the camera from the unit, and I set up my Möbius camera so that when I plug the power in, the camera will start recording by itself and get me 1080p video. I don't use the 720, what's the point? So there it is, it's pretty much ready. I guess the last component would be to stick a battery in here. I used the fairly cheap Zippy compacts from Hobby King. They seem to do the job. After about half a year, they start getting a little bloated. When they get bloated, they get shorter flight time, etc., etc. Tail goes to tail. And what else have we not mentioned? Oh, out here is the beeper. See that little thing? So that comes built into this quad already. Here's a battery warning beeper. When the power starts getting low, this will start beeping. It starts out like beep, and then a couple of seconds of beep, beep, beep. Once it starts becoming beep, 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 then you really should be on the ground already. But you get used to flying, hearing that thing, and you get used to knowing about when it's time to get on the ground. It's good to have, because if you have a problem with the battery, you get up, it's only 10 seconds into the flight and it starts going beep, 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 beep. You know you're running out of battery, probably was a bad one, and you need to get landed. So that's an easy way to fly. And with these little ones, I don't usually use an OSD, even though I like OSDs, but it's one more thing on a very small frame. So here it is. Now, let's for a minute talk value, because a couple of months ago, maybe half a year, I made how to build a beginner FPV from a Valkyria Hodin X. And as you can see, it has the same radio, the same this. It is using an 808 camera. And the Valkyria Hodin X is a really safe little device. It can't really hurt you. Very soft propellers, has very little power in the motors. Let's compare the motors here real quickly. There is a lot more motor on this thing. It is also a lot heavier and is flying with a lot bigger battery. So these propellers, they can definitely hurt you. They can cut you. As a matter of fact, that has happened to me before. I've got a Band-Aid on right now. So this one is very easygoing. It's quiet, it's low powered, it's underpowered, and is really kind of a neat way to learn to fly FPV. This thing here cost about the same, because the Hodin X is about 225 to 250. This thing is 275 the way I bought it, ready to fly, installed this thing. All you need is the receiver and the video thing and your camera and 4 connector cables. Those are called male-to-male connectors, 6 inches. And again, I found those at Ready Made RC. And again, I'm going to put a link down in the review on my blog at fpvguy.com. So you need that. You need a receiver. You can use a Valkyria receiver that's about $25, or this $100 receiver from Immersion RC for the ezUHF. The reason to fly ezUHF is this box will go out to about 20 kilometers. I'm never going to fly this far, but when you fly on the ground, behind rocks, behind a lot of trees, it means I don't lose control of this. If you're not going to fly close to the ground, I can fly this close to the ground about 2 kilometers out with no problems with this radio. Close to the ground with a regular radio, you shouldn't go much more than 500 meters. But that's a different discussion. There is definitely reasons for an UHF system. There's also a great reason to save some money and use a 2.4 system, which is the standard systems. So here it is. It's got a camera for 1080p on top. It's got a long distance receiver. I'm going to have to work a little bit on where this antenna is going to go. Maybe, actually, I think I'm going to stick the receiver inside here so the antenna comes up right behind the camera. That's going to look nice. It's going to be clean. It's not going to be sitting out here. And then I'm going to move this video transmitter down to the bottom. But basically what you're looking at here is a ready-to-go micro quad with all the trimmings required to go flying. And the next video obviously are going to be flying. So that's probably going to be in about 30 minutes from now that I'm going to have this in the air. Stay tuned. We got more things coming for reviews and for testing. This here, everybody seems to love this little quad from Armattan Quad in Taiwan. There's a link for where I bought it in the review. And $275 for a beautifully built little quad with a couple of spare propellers. And I put about another $150 worth of equipment on it. And if you crash and destroy it, you can of course put that $150 of equipment on your next quad. But I don't think you're going to destroy this. It's a great step up, powerful, lots of horsepower, little intermediate. You could probably use it as a beginner. It's very docile flying when you relax, but it has the power to become really fun. So this could probably be a beginner quad if you want to build one of these, and you can, if you have been flying a Houghton X or something else FPV, this will be a very fun kick in the pants next step up. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video. Stay tuned for more review videos. I'm supposed to be getting a Valkyra Pro maybe next week. They said they already sent it, so I can't wait to see it.